very nervous getting up in front of you guys today.
Oh my God.
Come on.
No. Not from stage fright. Not from stage fright. I'm just nervous you guys are going to overwhelm me when you send your clients my way after you. So, my company is Panther Public Adjusting, and I want to start off by talking a little bit about your insurance policy. Okay. Your insurance policy is a contract between you and the insurance company, and in it details what they will and won't cover in the case there is an event of loss. Okay, it's important to know this information up front because if you have a fire today and it's not covered, it's too late for you to change that contract. Okay, now, by the way, jumping back to what I say about building a relationship of trust, there's another factor. Whenever I do sales, I believe in first giving value. And this is actually something I do with every potential client I meet is I go over their policy with them and I tell them very simple. When I walk out of here, whether you sign with me or not, I want you to understand your policy so I know that I've given you something that'll last the rest of your life. And you should review it every year. So going into this is the declaration page of your insurance policy. In it, it's going to detail, kind of summarize what your coverages is. Okay, your insurance policy is like 50, 60 pages long, but this is the summary. And if you look halfway down on the left-hand side where you say Coverage A, I'm just going to go quickly over different coverages. Coverage A refers to your primary structure, the house that you live in, anything permanently attached. So for example, if we look at this room, the light fixtures are permanently attached, the tables are not. The cabinets over there are permanently attached. That's under Coverage A. Your limit, in this case, it was $200,527. What this means is if this person suffered a loss of $250,000, he's not covered for $250,000, they're only going to pay him up to $200,000. The flip side is if you only suffer $10,000 worth of damage, they're not going to pay you the policy limits either. Your next coverage is others.
Whoa. Back that one up?
If you suffer a $10,000 loss, they're only going to pay you $10,000, not the policy limits.
Okay. All right, okay.
Your next coverage is other structures. This, by the way, is the #1 underinsured area that I see with homeowners in Florida. Other structures refers to structures that are not permanently attached to the house, such as sheds, detached garages, fences. Those are the most common ones. Typically, the standard as an insurance agents don't usually go into what the value is. They just do a percentage. It's either 2, 5, or 10% of what your main coverage is. So you can see here, $200,000 main coverage, other structure, 10%, $20,000. If you have a lot of structures or expensive structures, make sure you've got enough coverage. The next part is personal property.
So let's go back. If I need help with the fence,
Okay.
that would be on the B.
99% of the time, it's going to be under B. I have gotten it paid under coverage A. I'm going to get to that in a minute. A great point about that. Coverage C is your contents. So that's anything, if you're moving, what you're taking with you. That's your clothing, your electronics, your KitchenAid, your TV. Is also your watch collection, jewelry collection, art collection, and gun collection. However, if you have any of those collections that's worth more than $1,500, you need to speak with your insurance agent because most policies have a limit of $1,500. Okay, for those categories. Therefore, if you have more, you call Brian up and he puts an endorsement on your policy to say you have a $100,000 art collection. Next coverage is loss of use. This is, okay, your house, God forbid, burns to the ground. You now have to rent a house. Guess what? David, you still got to pay the mortgage on your existing house, right?
Correct.
So you have an additional cost that you're paying rent. That's where loss of use kicks in. It's going to cover that additional expenses. So now we have 50 more pages in our policy, and this is where you really want to be careful because this is where there can be stuff that limit you in your contract. So for example, water limits. A number of carriers are putting in water limits of $10,000. So if you have water damage of $50,000 and you're with one of those carriers that has a $10,000 limit, they're writing you a check for $10,000 and you better have $40,000 to take out another mortgage. Okay. Right to repair. There's about 2 carriers that have right to repair. And what that means is that they are allowed, instead of paying you a check so you can go get your contractor, they have the right to tell you, no, we're going to send a contractor in who's going to do the work. Okay, and let me tell you, you don't want that. The things we see after that, you'll call me after that, and it's just going to be a much bigger headache. There's even a carrier, Lloyd's has in some of their policies, where you are not allowed to hire a public adjuster. So if, or should I say, when Lloyd screws you on what they pay you for the damages, you can't hire me according to the contract. So yeah, that's not great for you. And then we were talking about fences, unattached fences. When it comes to hurricanes, there's a lot of exclusions for fences. Some of them straight out exclude if it's a hurricane damage to fences. Some of them include fences, and then there's some that say only if it's permanently attached to the main structure. So here's a great tip. If any of you guys have fences at home, go home today with a hammer and a nail, drive one nail through that fence right into the house, and if you have that exclusion that it needs to be attached, you're now covered, okay? That's $15,000. So, this is Wi-Fi popping up.
It's gonna be a hell of a nail.
That's kind of genius, man. Awesome.
So when should you file a claim? So the answer is never ever. Don't do this at home. I'm a professional. I know when you should file a claim and when you shouldn't. And before you file a claim, you want to make sure it makes sense to file a claim. So I'm going to tell you guys a story. I got a phone call this week on Sunday from a rabbi I know, and he says, Mendy, I just called my insurance carrier, filed a claim, and then Justice coming out in 2 days, so I want you to come out before that so you can help me with the claim.